You know what is absolutely hilarious about this is that every single time I say that I'm not gonna wait several months to do a reading wrap up, I end up waiting several months to do a reading wrap up. Oh, we've got some things to talk about. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I would just go get all of the books off of my bookshelf and hold them up and be on for the camera, but I'm not gonna lie, it's like 9 o'clock at night. I am fighting the sun going down. It will get dark in this video, but I want to talk about all of the books that I've read from April until now. This is like July 15th when I'm filming this. Don't ask me when it's going up. I just want to talk about all of the books that I have been reading and that I have read, some reviews, talking about them, just a good old yap session. It is a Tuesday. Yes, we're on the floor of my living room. It's a Tuesday, and I just want to, so I'm coming to you in my whole post-work glory, very minimal makeup, if any. I don't think I put any makeup on today. Anyways, let's talk about the amount of books I've read. I don't know how many books I've read actually since from April to now. So I have the Storygraph pulled up, which they're not a sponsor. I wish they would be. I love Storygraph, and this is how I track all of my reading. This is my most used website, most used app. I am on this thing all day, every day, most of the time, which I'm so happy that I track my reading, because I promise you I couldn't tell you what I read. Like 2 of these books I forgot I even read them because I didn't care about them a lot. But so the first book I finished in April was Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. This is the prequel to the Hunger Games trilogy. The publication order is the original trilogy, and now she's releasing prequels. It's by Suzanne Collins, and this one follows Coriolanus Snow, President Snow, as he is a mentor in the 10th Hunger Games, but he's also a student at the Capitol Academy. I don't remember what it's called, but he's a student and he's a mentor, and his class is given the task of making the Hunger Games more entertaining. So people in the Capitol are not tuning in, they're not watching the games anymore, and they see it as more cruelty than they do as like a just punishment. So his class is tasked with making the games fun and making people want to tune in. And reading this, you really see that I don't believe that this book humanized Snow. I don't think it gave him like a sympathy background. I just think that it showed Snow has always been Snow. I've also always watched the movies before I read the book, and this book was no different. I will say a difference between the movie and the book is that you don't have Snow's inner monologue, and when you have his inner monologue, it's sinister. It's very like he is always the victim mentality. He always has to blame someone. He's never wrong. And it just feeds into him being a villain. It is a very good villain story. Like it is his origin story. This book came out like 5 years ago. I'm very late to the party, like I always am. I did enjoy like everything about the story. I'm not gonna lie, I really liked seeing some of the Easter eggs of like things that we know later on in the series. This book opened up the floodgates for so many fan theories and so many people to discuss things about past and present games and future games and stuff like that for the Hunger Games franchise, which I do think is a very rich dystopian. A group of students, you could say that that is because the trilogy's been out for 10 plus years. Everyone knows these characters. She purposely wrote it that way. She was like filling things in to tying up loose ends or like opening endings. But I think it's just a really fun book to read, but also disturbing and chilling when you can draw so many parallels between the original trilogy and just like this first prequel. Next, I read Wild and Wrangled by Lila Sage. This is the last book in the Rebel Blue Ranch series, and while I did give this one a very high rating, I was very disappointed in the story. If you don't know what the Rebel Blue Ranch series, it follows a group of siblings, the Ryder siblings, and they're very close friends and family members, and their romance story. They own one of the biggest, like, I think horse ranches in Wyoming. I think that's where it takes place. Each book follows a sibling. Each sibling gets a romance story, and then the 4th and final book follows a character that's very, very close to the family. She is family, and it's her love story. It's Camille and Dusty's love story, which you have seen brewing in the background for the like past 3 books of this series. You know that something happened between Cam and Dusty. You know that their relationship took a rocky turn. You know that Cam, and it's not really a spoiler because it's mentioned in the first book, so if you read the first book or if you read any of the books, you know that Cam and Gus have a kid together. And if you were like me reading the first 3 books trying to figure out where Dusty factored into this is their book. Cam is left at the altar and she flees. She just runs and she hides in the local bar, and the only person that can like bring her out is Dusty, and they like run away for the night just to get out of the town because it was very humiliating for the entire small town of Rebel Blue to just like watch her be left at the altar. The rest of the story really does follow Cam's journey as a like newly single mom. She still has a support system, but she's just not engaged. She is also struggling with her sense of self-worth and her relationship with her parents, her relationship with her daughter, and her relationship with the writer siblings and how much she loves and appreciates them. And in the background of that is Dusty pining for Cam. You know that something happened to them. They were high school sweethearts and they haven't seen each other in like 12 years. They haven't tried to get to know each other in that time. I think the reason that I was so disappointed with this one, because like it has a then and now timeline, it has the second chance romance aspect to it. I think the reason I was so disappointed is simply because I didn't like Cam. I just didn't like Cam. When you find out why they broke up, when you find out why they haven't talked to each other in such a long time, you truly realize that it was like the worst use of the miscommunication trope ever. It was like the worst. I don't even want to say that like miscommunication. Hold on, one moment. Let me get comfy. I have to sit on something. I don't even think that the miscommunication trope can be used, like should or could describe what happened between these two characters. And the more I heard Camille talk and complain and vent and like retreat into herself, the more I disliked her. And it's so like, this is not the character that I thought we would see in this book. Lila Sage does a really good job at writing strong female characters, and you can show strength in different ways, but I did not think Camille was strong. I thought she was just spoiled and bratty, and not in a good way, not in the I'm standing up for what I believe in way. It was very much I just want everything to be perfect and I am perfect. It does play into like her character and her trauma and her upbringing, but I felt so bad for Dusty, and then I felt so bad for like all of the other characters around her. I was like, wow, this girl really does think that she's better than everybody, but wants to be humble about it, but it's the worst kind of like humility of like I just did not like her character, and I wanted to love her. I loved her in all of the other books. So to like read these books for 2 years straight, like, oh my goodness, to read these books for 2 years and to be waiting and in such anticipation for these two characters because you love them and you want to see them, and then to not like one of them, I was gutted. I think the reason I rated it as high as I did was because it was me finishing a series. I really do love the world. I really wanted to like Cam, and I loved Dusty, and I loved Riley, and I loved all of the characters coming together at the end. It was like a beautiful tie to the ending of this series. I just really did not like Camille, and I hated that the entire time. I was so mad for not liking it. So coming off of that low, we're going to go into Off Track and Overdrive by Esther Patel. These are 2 books in the Off Track series. They are Formula One romances. The start of the season happened in like March of this year, and I was looking for Formula One romances, and I found it in Off Track and Overdrive. I finished Off Track April 24th, and then I finished Overdrive May 6th. So I had a time, okay? I was not reading a lot of books. I was just kind of like going through the motions of reading a book and finishing it and really liking it, and I love that. Off Track follows Diana, but I think it's Diana. Follows Diana and Miguel. Miguel comes from a long line of F1 racers. He is considered like, I think, a career or legacy. Like he comes from, I think, 2-3 generations of racing. And Diana is a rookie. She is the first female driver in Formula One, and she is replacing a living legend. If you don't know about F1, at the end of the season there are 2 trophies. In the simplest way I can put it, there's the trophy for the best driver, and then there's the trophy for the team with the best engineering. In this book, Miguel wants that top championship spot because he wants to prove to himself that he is a true racer. His family like comes from a line of racers and they are worthy of that trophy, and Diana wants both of those trophies for her team, but also to prove that women can be in the sport. The two of these two characters have such a cute backstory, and they know each other, but they don't really know how they know each other. Like they can't really put their hands on it. They're like, I know you, but I don't know how I know you. You see Miguel be vulnerable in his image and how people perceive him and how he doesn't want that to happen with Diana, and you see Diana being vulnerable in her family and what racing means to her and how far it's gotten her in life and the things that she never wants to take for granted. And I really love this because the Rivals to Lovers is not like they just hate each other for no reason. They're actually competing for something. Their intentions are very clear of, I really like you, but also I must beat you. We are rivals on different teams. I must beat you, but I really, really adore you. Cute, competitive, funny, bantery, witty. The audiobook was phenomenal. When I finished it, I immediately picked up Overdrive. And it took me a long time to like get through Overdrive, but this one you're following Darian and Chantel. Same thing. Darian is competing for not only the championship trophy but the engineering trophy. His team wants to prove that they have the best trainers. In comes Chantel and her company. She is a sports medicine analyst. Like, she collects data and she analyzes it to improve on training, and they have just developed this like simulator that helps you drive the tracks, but it also kind of like predicts other drivers' movements and what they're gonna do. It helps with like reflex time, it helps with speed. It's like really cool. I don't know if this technology exists, but if it did, that'd be awesome. And you're following these two characters. It's a forbidden workplace romance. They also start off really guarded from each other. Darian is the like rookie, sunshine, happy, bubbly kid who wins a really big race in the first book. On the inside, he's very anxious and he's nervous about taking care of his mom and his family. And Chantel is dealing with the grief and loss of her sister. So she takes this job to work on this like simulator to like get away from her family, get away from her job, and kind of prove that she is healing and moving forward. But also there are some things that come up that kind of show that she's not. And I love Patel's writing. I think that her books are obviously fun and a rom-com, but they touch on such like deeper meanings. I watched an interview of hers and she said that she grew up on Bollywood movies, and so grand gestures and huge declarations of love, but not all Bollywood movies like show positive, healthy relationships and romance. So in her books she has that like sense of grandeur and like awe and wonder and admiration and declaration, but it's also very healthy and very positive, and like brown girls being loved. I don't know what else to tell y'all. 5 stars to both of these books. They were amazing. If she ever writes anything else in this series, I will be set. I will be here for the announcement. I listened to The Bone King and The Starling and that's all I can tell you about this book. I remember it being like, I don't know, 8 hours. I remember it being super spicy, and I remember it being a fantasy. I gave it 3 stars. It's by Elizabeth Stevens, and I've never read anything by her. I do have Dark City Omega on my shelf, which she did write that book, and I really want to read it. And she has another one too that takes place in that world, but I've never read her writing, so I wanted to like pick up one of her newish books, something to like get me a sense of her writing. And I didn't really love this one a ton, but I also think I just wanted to finish a book, so I picked The Bone King and The Starling. I wish I could tell you. Actually, let me just read you the description. This is a cold read, I'm so sorry, but this is the description of the book. They call him the Bone King, a massive beast of a male who worships the gods and is all too willing to provide them their sacrifices, human sacrifices. He and his warriors have come to visit Winterburn, a poor little village on the outskirts of Wrath, my home. Oh, this is being read from the perspective of the character. I've never been more grateful to be a thrall, for my low status will ensure that I remain on the outside of his notice, but when he requires a willing female to warm his furs for the duration of his stays, his selection falls to me, and all I can do is pray to the gods that I survive the night and beg the Bone King for mercy. Oh yeah, okay, so she is kind of like an orphan, a thrall, an orphan, and her caregivers kind of just like use the fact that she's really, really pretty to like get them out of some things and to use her for free labor. He sees her and he's like instantly in love with her, but her caregivers have already like kind of sold her into marriage to somebody else, and then the Bone King takes her away and is like, you're mine now. Again, I gave it 3 stars. It's like a 6, 7, 8. It's like 7 to 8 hours of an audiobook. It didn't put me in a slump, but like I don't know what else to say about it. I think now is a good time to pause and I'll be right back. We're a little bit cozier than we left. I have a giant cup of blueberry green tea. This is my favorite tea, by the way. Like, I love, this is my favorite tea. Blueberry green tea, honey, sugar, and oat milk. It's delicious. Okay, the next book that I read, Shield of Sparrows by Daphne Perry. Never read a Daphne Perry book before. I really liked this book. There's a reading vlog that I made. There's a review I have somewhere. I liked this book. I do have some critiques about it. In this world, you are following Odessa, who I believe is the eldest daughter. She's the eldest daughter in this world. Her father has gotten remarried and she has 2 half siblings. However, her half siblings are favorited by her stepmother. So it's a little bit of a Cinderella retelling right there. She's literally the redheaded stepchild. I wish I was kidding. Her sister is picked to be what is called the Sparrow. In this world, each country puts up their firstborn, like prince and princess, or like chosen, whatever, to be the shield and sparrow. It's a treaty that protects the kingdoms from attacking each other to put up a united front against this giant crux migration. And the crux is like a big ass crow that just like comes down and destroys everything. And so to get the kingdoms to stop fighting amongst each other and like unite to fight against the crux, the Shield of Sparrows was introduced as this like peace treaty where kingdoms kind of just keep marrying into each other to protect whatever they need to protect, to gain assets, to gain weapons, defense, etc. Our main character is picked to be the Sparrow by the opposing kingdom, which is not normal. There's a loophole that they find and they're like, yeah, we're gonna take her instead of her. We're gonna take Odessa because we feel like the other one, I don't even remember her name, is a spy. They're very much correct in that. Odessa is really bad at lying. She's really bad at being a spy. She's really bad at getting information. Her sister, on the other hand, stellar, amazing, perfect. Her sister is what I think like the main character in all romanticies are like. She's so good at weapons and she's so good at battle and tact, and she's a badass, and she's like cutthroat. Like literally their first interaction, her stepsister goes to like stab her and she's like, could you knock it off for 2 seconds? Like calm down. Her sister is what I think all female main characters of romances are like, so I'm so happy that she's not the main character. Odessa is really bad at all of these things. And her father is like, great, we trained the wrong daughter. Amazing. Hey babe, can you go and spy on this kingdom? Tell me everything about their weapons. Tell me everything about their trade, their defenses, where all of their like secret archives are. You're about to be the queen of this kingdom. So like, make them trust you, get me the information, blah, 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 blah. And she doesn't do that because she's really, really bad at it. And she spends a lot of time at war with herself about, wow, my family has really treated me like garbage and now they need something from me. But I'm starting to really like these people that I'm one day going to be the queen of. She's learning more about her future kingdom, and the like male main character, the love interest, he's very funny, cocky and arrogant and full of himself. Like he knows that he's being mean to her and she's like, wow, you're really mean. He's like, yeah. And so they kind of don't like each other. He is a Witcher-esque character. He has these magical powers, like superhuman strength, that no one really knows where they come from, and she wants to learn more about his powers and his like secret identity. I will say, for the wonderful like banter and dialogue and the amazing ending of this book, the last 50% was really my favorite part. It was so long. It was so unbearably long. It was an amazing book one. I think it has a lot of potential. I give it a 4-star. It has a lot of potential. I really like the characters. I promise to take notes on my reread when book 2 gets announced, or when an arc is dropped. I will do a reading vlog because I really like the potential that it has. I was on a fantasy kick. I decided to read The Kiss of Deception and The Heart of Betrayal. These are books 1 and 2 in the Remnant Chronicles, and I can only tell you about book 1. In this world, you are following Leah, who is a princess, and it is her tradition as the firstborn daughter to be married off to a different country to form an alliance, similar to Shield of Sparrows, I guess. However, on the morning of her wedding, she runs away. She like takes off. She disappears with her best friend, and they go on this journey to start their new lives as not royals. What they don't know is that the jilted prince that she left at the altar, as well as an assassin sent to stop the marriage, is looking for her. They're both looking for her, and you do not know who is who. There are no descriptions given of these characters. They are just called the prince and the assassin until they are given names, and then you still do not know who is who. And you watch Leah fall in love with both of these men as they try to figure out why she ran away, if this really is the princess, how can they get her alone. The prince is trying to figure out how he can get her alone to like talk about what happened without blowing his cover, and the assassin is trying to figure out when he can kill her. And you are watching her fall in love with both of these men, and you do not know who is who. You do not know who is dangerous, because when it comes to those chapters, it like takes away their names and just replaces it with prince, assassin. And like I could not tell who was who from in the first book. I was so confused, and I was rooting for someone, and I was like, man, what if that's the assassin that I'm rooting for? Like, what if I'm rooting for the wrong person? And you basically end book one with Leah being kidnapped by one of those two men and being dragged across the country, like her kingdom that she has not really seen a lot of, because she's been held to this really high standard of like have to stay in the castle, have to stay with her mother. And her book two opens up right after book one ends, and that's when you get a lot of plot reveals. You figure out who's who, you learn more about the history, you learn more about prophecies and Leah and her magic, if she has magic, maybe she doesn't have magic. I really liked this because there's text within the text. So not only are you reading the story, but you're also reading other books. So you're reading, like, what are they called? Like, you're reading testaments and diaries and songs and poems and stuff like that, which kind of, as the story goes on, books 1, 2, and 3, puts together the whole story of the Remnant Chronicles, the Book of Morgan, the history and lore of this world. I will say that I'm on book 3 right now, and I'm so close to DNFing it because I know who's who, and I know who she ends up with, and I'm deeply disappointed in the way that these characters act and the way these characters are being treated. It is not fun. But the first 2 books were amazing. The third one is still amazing. It's just really long, and I'm upset about who ends up with who. And that's where we are in my reading journey so far from April to July. Not a lot of books. I think 10, math, 8, 9, 10, 11. I've read 11 books in the past 3 months, which is fair. I've been doing things. I've been planning and moving and working and living a little bit of a life. And it's now 10 o'clock at night. The sun is gone. Officially, I'm working with my computer lighting and the lighting behind me. I'm gonna stop talking now. I'm gonna finish the rest of my tea, which is almost gone. And then I'm gonna edit this, and I don't know when you're gonna see this, but happy reading. Let me know if you've read any of these books, if you want to read any of these books, if you've thought about it. What have you been reading? Actually, tell me what you've been reading. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I really like interacting on this platform. I'm not gonna lie, YouTube scares me, but when I open it and I see that I have friends that are like watching this and talking about books in the comments with me, I feel like it's easy. I don't know. I feel like YouTube is TikTok's scary big sister, and I'm trying to impress her so that I can keep coming over and hanging out. Does that make sense? Of course it didn't make sense. Okay. Well, until next time.